Hey everybody, aren't you glad to be in school? To be able to go to school free of will, that you have a choice? Now, this issue has been raising little by little throughout the time because people are thinking about the Playa versus Doe situation, which was based on letting undocumented students back into schools. Because back then in Texas, they would charge like $1,000 for tuition for students to be able to go to school, and of course, not everybody was able to afford it. So a lot of people, or a lot of students, did not have any education. I feel like I am qualified because I am too one of those undocumented students. I was enrolled in DACA when I was 14 years old. So 14 years prior to that, I was, in school per se illegally, but I never had any discrimination against me. Everybody was always so nice, the teachers were always so helpful, and it's like, I want the other people to have the same experience as me and for times not to change like they are now, because it's becoming a huge debate, and especially like DACA, there's like a lot of problems because our citizens believe that we're taking, student resources away from them by letting undocumented students in public schools, which I don't think that's true at all because everybody is responsible for their grades, their attendance, their hard work, their willingness to progress, whether they want to go to college. Life has made it so easy that if you want your education, you just have to go for it, and that it's not based on undocumented students taking seats or taking resources, because a lot of those undocumented students by their high school years are already working and are already paying into the system, by paying taxes. They're initially paying for what the school funds. Now, in the Supreme Court case, Playa versus Doe, it was this guy named Tyler that they were charging him $1,000, and obviously he couldn't afford it because even back then, $1,000 is a lot of money. If it is a lot of money now, can you imagine years back in 1942? And then the Supreme Court lost the case, and it ruled in his favor, and it made it a lot easier for undocumented students to go in school. Now, a lot of people were not happy with this, but it prohibited from teachers and schools from blocking access to undocumented students, and it prohibited them from asking for social securities or too much information from their parents, because that could ultimately, expose their parents that they're not in the US legally here. So it was just a big win-win for everybody. Now, the reason why I'm here to persuade you in this topic is because it's, like I said, an ongoing issue, and a lot of people have been talking about it, how they should abolish it, how they should just, the dreamers that are already here, okay, but then any new or incoming students to completely block their access to education. And I just feel like that's so unfair, because education shouldn't be blocked in any nation or in any country that's, not even in the US. Like, if you go to any other country, I feel like education is one thing that is based on human necessity, that everybody needs at some point, at least through K through 12, because undocumented students only can do K through 12, and then everything is out of pocket. But, K through 12 is very important, and it teaches you the bases, human biology, history, basic language, math. It's just a necessity that I feel like every human being should be given, and it's not based on your nationality or your status. Another point I want to bring out is that most of these undocumented students are not really at fault, or not really doing something illegal, because, you know, even here in the United States, kids are under the ruling of their parents up until they're 18 years of age. And it's like you can't really, it's the same thing in every single country. I mean, everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody has a mom or a dad or a guardian that is in charge of you and, you know, pretty much decides everything that has to do with you up until you're 18. So when kids are brought illegally here, it's not really the kids' fault. They shouldn't be persecuted, they shouldn't be harassed, they shouldn't be, you know, blocked from basic human necessity over something that is not even their fault. Like, most of them could have been like, no, I don't want to go. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's not their decision. So I feel like, you know, people are saying that they're not only breaking the law of being here, but then they want to be taking our resources. Well, if you look at it the other way around, it's like, what if it was you, that you had a parent or a guardian that brought you here, you have no other option? And it's like, not only do you have to, you know, face the dangerous passage over here, whichever way it was that you were able to come, but then it's like you get harassed, you get discriminated, you can't go to school. And even at school, I mean, it doesn't happen that often here anymore, but back then, like in the 19th century, there was a lot of discrimination. There was a lot of name calling. There was a lot of, you know, bullying. I read it was a website, Canum, and it talked about that. It talked about, you know, kids dealing with, you know, psychological damage for being in, you know, foreigner in a different country and not being accepted. And you see, like, all these other kids, you know, they have the right to go to school, and then they couldn't go to school. They had to work. And which is ironic, because it's like, okay, but they can't go to school, but they can work, you know, and pay taxes. That doesn't make sense at all. Now I have a request for you all. Let's all support the Playa versus Doe. Let's not abolish it. Education shouldn't be something that we have to fight for. It's bad enough fighting for, you know, staying up at night, late at night, working, having to go to school, having house problems, having bullies at school. You know, let the kids just deal with the rest. Let's not, you know, block them from their basic education. Humans, us as humans, we already have so many problems, so many other problems, you know, personal, you know, workplace problems. Let's keep education something so accessible that we all have a chance to progress, because with education we can make our nation better. Thank you for having me today. Bye-bye.